Hi guys, welcome to Social Anxiety Inside Out, session number 29. And I just wanted to go over, the kind of idea behind these hangouts and what to expect really. It all started about 6 months ago, and because I can relate to feelings of social anxiety and how that kind of created my view of the world, that in many different social situations I couldn't interact in the way I wanted to, or even go to many different things, because I had this strong feeling that I wasn't good enough, I was the shy one, I couldn't talk to anyone, I wasn't very interesting, and all that stuff that we take on, all these beliefs that we really associate with. And in these hangouts we look at a different way of looking at things really. It's about the three principles of mind, thought and consciousness, and it's just been a really useful way for me to detach myself from the feelings of social anxiety, because I still feel nervous at times. Like just before this hangout I felt quite nervous, and I was thinking I don't know what to say, and all that kind of stuff bubbles up, and I could have listened to that, and I could have cancelled the session tonight. And these three principles, they describe how we experience life really. It's just a really neat, simple way to explain our experience. Mind is normally the most difficult one for people, because mind is something more than us. It's the intelligence behind life, the energy behind life. And I'm not religious myself, but some people would call that God, or the universe, or the stuff that is around us, and creates just basically creates life as we know it. It's the way that the trees grow and flowers grow, and there's something bigger than us. And even when I was saying that, I wasn't sure what I was going to say, but and I was worried about saying the wrong thing. So these feelings come up all the time, and the other two principles, thought and consciousness, are almost self-explanatory. We all know what thought is. We all know when we're socially anxious, it is our thinking, but we think that it's a lot more than that as well. We know intellectually that it's our thinking, but we think there's something wrong with us that is making us feel that way. And then consciousness comes in. Consciousness could be known as awareness. We're just aware. We're aware of our thinking, and that can vary in different levels. Like I was saying, you can intellectually know that it is your thinking creating your anxiety, and even though I'm feeling nervous now, I can see it as I can see it at a different level. I can see it as I guess I'd say, comparing it to if you learn a skill, for example, learning to drive, you you can intellectually know how to drive by reading a book, or ride a bike, for example, and you can know all the ins and outs of riding a bike by reading it, but until you actually learn and you pass your test and you're actually driving, it's like an embodiment of it. You feel it at a different level, and that's become incredibly useful for me personally, and for many other people that I know, in kind of not taking your thinking too seriously. I spent so long trying to get somewhere and cure myself of the anxiety that it felt like I was wasting. I just felt like it was never ending, really. I was always looking for the next course to cure my anxiety. But since having an understanding of these three principles, it kind of takes the pressure off. There's nowhere to get in regards to learning how to be confident. It's behind all of all of this thinking that is in the way, and kind of creating our experience at that level. I'm just reflecting back to times when I was I was so caught up in anxiety, and someone could be looking at me, and on the outside I might have looked calm, and people wouldn't have noticed, and then on the inside I've got all these things going on that are really creating my experience of that event. It's really fascinating, because the more I look in this direction, the more I can kind of see these habits for what they are, and not it's not like, put it this way, for me anyway, when I started looking into the three principles, I was trying hard to grasp it and really find out what it was that created change in people, but it wasn't there isn't one thing you can say to someone, or a process that you can go through. It's just more of when you get a grasp of it, you have more of an understanding of how your perception of life is created, and you see things that you didn't see before, and that is through the potential of thought, new thoughts coming into your mind that change the way you view the world. And that keeps evolving, because it wasn't like I had a huge life-changing insight and everything was different. That does happen to people. It was more of just having a sense that it made sense to me, and I would get insights that made sense to me and just shifted the way I saw things. And the reason I wanted to share a bit today about the whole taking life seriously, and forgetting to have fun and everything. It's something I've forgotten to do because I've been kind of focused on uh, I don't know, just caught up in life, focused on work and um, focused on helping other people, um, doing all sorts of different things. And I just realised today how important it is to do the things that you actually want to do and that actually bring you alive and excite you, and only you know what that is. There's something for everyone that you really enjoy doing. It might have been something you enjoyed doing as a kid. And I was having a coaching session um, uh, with this guy, Phil Goddard, today, and I just really started to see that. And he, he was pointing out the things that I didn't see, and I was having insights of my own that were very personal. And I don't mean personal as in intimate and can't be shared. I mean realizations of the way I've been being in my life. And it was like I've woken up from the things that I've been doing habitually. And that's what I mean about the kind of unfolding behind it. And you can see new things all the time. Because I didn't expect to see what I saw today. And you're just, when you go on this journey of learning the principles, well, kind of getting an understanding of what they point to, it just unfolds in a way that you don't expect, and in a good way. And I know even when I have bad days now that I know deep down that they're past, and and there's always room for new thinking to come in that will change the way you see a situation. And I think a lot of the time what we do in life is, if something is difficult or challenging or anything else, we see it as that situation being challenging or difficult or stressful. And my whole perception shifted on where I want to go to, in regards to helping others and having a career and all that kind of stuff. It just shifted from feeling quite difficult and a monumentous task, a big task, and something that'd be quite difficult to get to changing into something that was inspiring, because it involved a bit more fun in it, and injecting things that are personal to me and the way I want to do them. So, for example, I was talking to Phil today about my vision for the future, and I was quite unclear. It was a bit hazy, but I've always known for a while that I want to change the way mental health care is provided, and improve that and give people hope so they can um, get back to their old selves and feeling feeling part of society again, feeling part of community. Just I don't know. I just see something missing in the diagnosis model, that people are given diagnoses and kind of told that they have to live with that. And I've seen so often that that's not the case. People have turned their lives around, and I know a lot of people who've done that. And not only in understanding the principles, but other ways as well. There's when we're in a bad place, it's so easy to take on the advice of the people who are caring for us, and there's no reason why we shouldn't, because that's what they're supposed to be doing. And when Phil and I were talking about that, like I said, it felt quite challenging and difficult, and then I just had an insight that I wasn't having any fun in my life, and it was just I'd built up all this pressure to try and help loads of people and change the way mental health care is provided, or that yeah, I just really forgot how to have fun, and I'm probably not doing it justice with words in regards to what I felt then, but that's the power of insight. I just felt a real big weight lifted off my shoulders, and I just felt, I swore to Phil because it was such a release. And I just felt like I've been taking all of my life too seriously. Where is the fun? And I even said to Phil that even the word fun was meant something to me at one time. It was like when I went out and ran social groups for people with suffering with social anxiety and etc. That I didn't want to put the burden of fun on other people, because fun to me meant being embarrassed. Fun to me meant going out of my comfort zone. Fun to me meant something quite scary, and it's just funny how we see how different words we have a different feeling about it, and fun didn't match the description of fun as it should be. And when we were talking about that, it just shifted my whole view of what I was doing, and no, I can actually create something that is fun as well, and the way I see fun is just effortless enjoyment, being in the flow, just forgetting yourself really. And I can create that as well as changing the the mental health paradigm. I'm sure you'll agree it does need some fun in it, and it's, I know there's people really struggling and suffering, and I know people would like to feel themselves again and just experience joy and just do things that they love doing. So I just wanted to say to anyone watching this, go and connect with what you love doing, even if it scares you a little bit, even if it's like, you thinking about something that you want to do, but there's something that's popping up in your mind that's kind of preventing you from going to do that. And that's what I was doing all the time. I got to a level, I don't really want to say level, but I feel a lot more self-confident compared to, even 5 years ago, certainly 10 years ago, when things were around the worst kind of times. Even a year ago, I wouldn't be doing talking on video like this. Yeah, so it's really funny. I just wanted to be open and honest about that. I just looked at the viewers on here, and I noticed that a couple of people dropped off, and then as soon as I saw that, my thinking went south, and I was like, oh my god, I'm talking rubbish. There's people dropping out because they don't want to listen. And that's what I mean about kind of understanding these principles. I still felt that. It felt really painful. I was like, oh my god, I felt it in my stomach, and I felt a bit sick that, just brought back feelings of dread and not knowing what I was saying. And now there's another one that's dropped off as well. I'm laughing about it now. But back to my point before, I was yeah, I've known for a while that I've been missing fun, but again, I would think about doing something and then not actually do it because it felt too difficult as a change of routine. It was, I'd get home too late afterwards. I would, all these excuses that I made up. So I'm going to go and do something fun in the next week. I'm just going to decide to do something and then go and do it. So I invite you to do the same. If you're up for it, you might be having loads of fun yourself at the moment. And it was good what Phil said today, that you don't need an excuse to have fun. It's good in itself, and that sounds just like a simple statement, but it really made sense. That I was always worrying about having fun, and all that was in the way. But the times I did let go and have fun in the past, things you don't even think about it. It's just effortless. So what I wanted to do now is just open up for any questions. If there's anything you wanted to ask relating to the things we've been talking about, I'm just going to check now and see if there's any questions. No, there isn't any yet. If anyone wants to ask any questions, please post them just below the video. There's a contact form. And I'm finding myself I don't know, it's just really funny that I was talking with someone yesterday and today, I think, about our perceptions of, I guess, for public speaking, for example, even just, even speaking on camera like this, and there's a certain amount of people watching that has a certain feeling to it to me. But I could just be, I just could be talking on my own in front of a camera, and that would have a different feeling. Or there could be 10,000 people talking on this camera, and this surroundings where I am at the moment would be exactly the same. But the picture of 10,000 people could really prevent us from even showing up to doing something. It could put a lot of pressure on us because we feel that we'll be judged by 10,000 people or a lot more people. And I just want you to sit with that how powerful thought is in creating our experience. That I just want you to, when you go out into real life, I say real life, but situations, and just notice when, if someone asks you a question, or someone says, can you do this, or would you like to do that, or whatever, that see what comes up for you. It's funny because there's always something that comes up to your mind in the moment, and I was saying to someone earlier on that can be taken as the truth, really. Like if, say for example, you asked me, could you go and speak at the Albert Hall in front of 20,000 people tomorrow? That would bring up all sorts of images in my mind, and the only thing that is stopping me, the only thing that would stop any of us from doing that is our thinking about the event. And another thing I just felt like sharing was, and someone who I look up to, who inspired me about this, was George Pransky. He's just not worried at all about saying the right thing or worried about what other people are thinking when he's speaking. He's just really honest, and I see real power in that, because especially with problems such as social anxiety, we think about speaking with someone, or we're in a situation, and there's such mental pressure to say the right thing, or speak, or not speak, or or keep it to yourself, you sound stupid, and all this stuff going on that really really prevents us from connecting with someone else, because we're in our heads about how we sound and everything is going on. I know that that's innocently done, and I can really relate to that because I've been there. I can tell you about hundreds of situations where that's happened, and I just want to say it's not the situation itself. It's the meaning you put on it, and you don't really choose the meaning you put on it, because it happens automatically, and it's just something that you've picked up in the past. I want to give you an example that I was with friends about 10 years ago, and I just felt really uncomfortable. And we were in a pub, and I just couldn't keep eye contact. I just felt really fidgety and felt so uncomfortable. And one of the friends, kind of pointed it out to me and said, "I've noticed something about you. You look really nervous all the time." And then the other friend agreed, and that really hurt in my stomach, and I just felt really devastated about them saying that. And what I'm trying to get to is, it wasn't what they said that made me upset per se. It was my thinking about what they said and what it meant about me as a person. And I guess I couldn't even put that into words when it happened, but it just felt overwhelming, like it was, real visceral feeling that you couldn't even pinpoint a thought on it, because it was happening in the background. And I just wanted to add to that there's times where we feel totally anxious and we can't pinpoint the thoughts that are happening, but the fact is thoughts are still happening in the background, and thought creates our feelings, full stop. Just got a question come in. Thank you very much. Okay, this is more of a comment, so I'll just generalise the comment. Good to see you. Good to see you're having anxious thoughts about where your views have gone. I'm glad and relieved to know I'm creating my reality in a moment. Having anxious thoughts about forms I have to fill in and deal with decision and its outcome, and worrying about paying a debt. And this in the past would have led me to drink or paralyse me. Now I wait for the feelings to pass, as I'm aware it's a moment. Take care. Thank you for sharing your experience, strength and hope. Thank you so much for sharing that. it's wonderful to know that um, that you've really seen something for yourself, and thank you for sharing. Yeah, I'm just finding myself. It's funny because I find more and more that it's good to be vulnerable and and just lay your cards on the table in regards to how you're feeling. But then there's another thought that comes in. It's like, well, you don't want to give yourself away too much. People will judge you. But I'm finding more and more that I get a sense that I can, well, I have more power to choose really. Um, and if it feels right to be more vulnerable, then I can. If not, then I don't really. Um, I just wanted to share, like, it was a great point, what you said on your comment. And you said, now I wait for the feelings to pass. Because I'm aware it's a moment, we can we can have the negative feelings come in and as they do for everyone at different times in the day. It could be for any reason or whatever, and we do whatever we can to get rid of them, or numb them, whether that's drink or eat or exercise. Exercise is a better habit than the other two. Overeating and just something to kind of ease the pain. But I guess what we're pointing to here is, feelings do pass, and what I did in the past was really judge myself for feeling bad, and then kind of carrying that on myself, unknowingly, that I'd wake up feeling rubbish and kind of wonder why I was feeling rubbish, and then go into all sorts. But when I look at it, it's like my focus was just pointing towards everything that was wrong in my life, and I was just recalling memories in a negative light, and that's all it was. And like today, I felt really great after the coaching call and had all these insights, and then I noticed my mood started to drop in the afternoon. I immediately saw myself judging myself about my mood dropping. And then I kind of, gave myself a break. I looked at the time, and it was just gone 5 o'clock, and then I just had a sense that, well, maybe it's time to wind down for the day. I think leave space. I guess what I'm getting a sense of is, if you are feeling like you're in a low mood, just give yourself space to give yourself room for new thinking to come in, because we could be so busy trying to get rid of that feeling that there's no space for the clarity to come back in again. And then I had a chat with someone just after 5 o'clock, and then my mood mood lifted. We were talking about positive things, and we both left feeling uplifted. And um, I love what I think it's George Pansy again said: "Be grateful for the highs and graceful with the lows." Um, every low I have now, I kind of see it as a learning curve. That you know, when I feel low, there is something on my mind, whether I see it or not. As simple as that, really. Um, Even though that it might not feel simple at the time. Um, and that could be it could be anything really. But I just want you guys to go easy on yourself, and just be less judgmental. Don't we give ourselves such a hard time. Need to give ourselves a break and go and have some fun, and whatever fun means to you. It could mean going for a nice countryside walk or something. It doesn't have to be fun like doing crazy things and having wild parties or whatever. It is whatever it is to you, really. Um, I think we just, we take life too seriously, and I know when you're not feeling great, we can feel like life is a real burden, and it feels tough, but yeah, I'm really hopeful about looking in this direction, because it just keeps unfolding new things for me, and just uncovering blind spots you didn't know you had. Like when you're in kind of in a negative mindset for a long time, and you feel like there's no possible way that you ever get out of that. But even people who are in those situations, we've all got um, the three principles creating our experience, and it doesn't have to boil down to the words of the three principles, but just the sense of it, that we're all um, part of this bigger whole. We all think, and we all are consciously aware of ourselves, and what we're doing in life, and that I see as a really great equalizer in all of us, really, because we can easily get caught up in the medical model of mental health, and different diagnoses and labels, and all of that gets really confusing. You can focus on, like I did with social anxiety for years, and felt really real, like it was this solid thing, and I had this solid label that was on that was given to me that I could never get past. Um, and I think, yeah, things are changing. The the director of the National Institute of Mental Health shared a great quote, or actually read it. I was going to try and paraphrase it, but I will find it, because it really moved me when I first heard this. Okay. Yeah, I found it. I don't know if these are two quotes or one quote actually. This is from Tom Insel, director of National Institute of Mental Health, and it says, "We are so embedded in this structure. We have spent so much time diagnosing mental disorders that we actually believe they are real. But there is no reality. These are just constructs. There's no reality to schizophrenia or depression. We might have to stop using terms like depression and schizophrenia because they are getting in our way, confusing things. Whatever we've been doing for 5 decades, it ain't working. And when I look at the numbers of suicides, the numbers of disabilities, mortality data, it's abysmal and not getting any better. All the ways in which we have approached these illnesses sound with a lot of people working very hard. I'm not sure if that's supposed to say, oh, it might say and, sorry. All of the ways in which we have approached these illnesses, and with a lot of people working very hard, the outcomes I've got to point to are very bleak. December 12th, 2011. Again, that's Thomas Intel, National Institute of Mental Health director. That's in the States. So things are changing, and yeah, I've real hope that things will look very different in future generations and sooner than we think. And I'm just aware that that this conversation has got quite deep, and I was hoping to talk about bringing joy back, but I have really enjoyed it, and it's been it's been great. The second hangout I've done on my own, and like I said, I still found myself getting anxious, and you all know the points of when you're not sure what to say, and then it's not. I guess it's not even your mind going blank. This worrying about your mind going blank is more accurate. But yeah, I've had points throughout this conversation. Different thoughts have flowed, come in and out of my consciousness, and it's changed my experience. Like I mentioned before, the numbers on the how many viewers went down, and I felt quite sick, and then it went up a bit. And yeah, and that's quite powerful, really, because we once we get more of an awareness of this, we can still be reacted by things externally, but we have more of a choice how we deal with that. And it's not like I wasn't feeling the anxiety. It still felt real, and I still felt the same feelings, the same anxious feelings. But it wasn't to the point where it would massively affect me like it used to. So before we go, I'm just going to check if there are any more questions. Yeah, there was a nice comment from someone. Wasn't sure whether to read the whole thing or just the first line kind of stuck out as a talking point. Um, so it says, I also notice when I'm tired, my thinking goes. Um, not sure if he meant up and down, but it says off and down. But yeah, that's totally true for me as well. When we're tired, um, the thinking that we get can, our mood can drop and all that kind of stuff. And the best thing for that is getting sleep. I've judged myself many a time that I've been tired because I haven't had much sleep before and got up early and all these, I start feeling rubbish and I caught myself and I just realised that I hadn't had much sleep and that was all it was. So, and I'll read the last part of it because I just feel like reading because it's a nice email. I've enjoyed a cry today. I have enjoyed a cry today, or rather acknowledged the feelings that allow tears. Instead of the poor me I used to suffer, I know I'm still creating the reality. And then the last part says, enjoy ice cream or whistling. Try doing that while you're having miserable thoughts. I wouldn't mind some ice cream myself. Thank you for that lovely comment. So if you do have any other questions or comments, please post them in, and I really, really appreciate you staying for the whole duration and listening to me share. It really does mean a lot. And I hope you get something from this. So remember to have some fun and go and do something that you enjoy, even if it's like eating ice cream. Not a good habit to get into if you're eating it all the time, but do the things that give you pleasure in I was going to say an authentic way, but the ways we do pleasure to distract ourselves, kind of negative behaviors like, drinking, drugs and all that kind of stuff as a form of an escapism. I want you to go and not do that. Go and do something that really makes you feel alive and you kind of forget yourself when you're doing it. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet, but I will have a think about that and I'll keep you posted. So thank you so much again for watching, and I will see you again very soon.